Picture the greatest shooter who ever lived, dropped backward into the roughest era the sport has ever seen. The hand-checking, paint-packed, foul-heavy 1990s. So here's the question we are answering today, in reverse. Would Steph Curry get bullied into nothing, or would he quietly break that entire era clean in half? Hold that thought, because the super advanced data has a surprising answer. First, the ground rules of the model, so this stays honest. I take Steph's verified numbers, then I study how the 1990s actually played, and then I translate him backward in time. Everything that is historical fact, I will mark clearly as fact. Everything that I project forward into that era is purely my read, and I will say so out loud every single time. This is Game is Culture. Before we drop Steph into 1995, hit subscribe so you do not miss the verdict. Start with the real thing first. In his unanimous most valuable player season, Steph averaged 30.1 points, shot 45.4% from 3, and posted a 66.9 true shooting. On top of that, he buried 402 threes in a single year on 886 attempts, a record that still stands. That right there is the peak we are translating backward. Now look at how he actually scores, because the shape of it matters more than anything. His shot diet is unlike anyone in basketball history. Roughly 2/3 of his damage comes from beyond the arc, with the rest split between layups at the rim and a thin sliver of mid-range. In short, he lives and breathes entirely on the three-point line. So keep that exact picture in mind as we travel back in time together. Here is why the era matters so much. In the 1990s, entire teams attempted barely into the low teens from 3 per game. Today, the league launches 35 and up. So Steph alone, in his peak year, fired nearly as many threes as a whole 1990s team did combined. That gap right there is the entire story of this episode. The era simply was not built, schemed, or coached to handle that kind of volume from deep range. And here is the historical wrinkle the model absolutely loves. For 3 straight seasons in the heart of the Jordan era, the league shortened the three-point line to a uniform 22 feet all the way around the floor. Then, before the 97 and 98 season, it moved back out to 23 feet 9 inches up top. A shorter line means a higher percentage. That is a verified fact, not my read, and it is huge. This is Steph's profile broken down by skill. Shooting and off-ball movement are completely off the chart. His gravity and spacing bend entire defenses out of shape before he even touches the ball. The handle is elite, and the free throw stroke is automatic. The one low bar on this whole chart is size and strength, and that exactly is where the physical 1990s would test him the very hardest of all. These are the shots that made him a legend. Deep threes off the dribble, catch and shoot threes off movement at the wings, logo bombs from center court, and quick finishes at the rim. Now notice the one key detail. So much of this map already sits several feet behind where the 1990s line was even drawn. He would be shooting from a different planet. Now here is my projection on the floor. Drop him into 1995 with that closer 22-foot line, and the percentages climb across every single zone. A shorter arc lifts every 3, and the deep ones especially. Plus, with a packed paint, his corners open up. So these zone numbers you are seeing are strictly my projection, not verified history. Treat them that way. Quick break. If era translations are your thing, subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel. Here is the headline projection of the whole video. His verified 45.4% came on the modern, longer arc. On a closer 22-foot line, my read is that the mark pushes even higher, well past anything the 1990s ever saw from anybody. That is the gravity multiplier, and it is exactly why I think he warps that era rather than wilts in it. The closer line is the cheat code. So what truly helps him and what truly hurts him? The closer line, the wide open arc, and his constant off-ball motion all help enormously. Meanwhile, the legal hand-checking, the forearms planted in his back, and the foul-heavy paint all genuinely hurt. The model has to weigh both of these sides honestly before it hands you any kind of verdict at all. Now put it all together into a projected 1990s stat line. My read sees the scoring roughly holding around 30, the efficiency rising on the shorter arc, and the true shooting climbing into genuinely rare, almost unheard of air for that entire era. Once again, to be totally clear with you, this entire card is my projection and not a single verified number, so take it as a thoughtful read, nothing more. Think of it as portability plotted on a map. On one axis, how well an era could even defend the three. On the other, his raw shooting gravity. Steph sits in a corner no 1990s player ever occupied, pulled so far out and so impossible to leave open that defenses simply never had to scheme for anyone like him. That blank corner is the opportunity. So how portable is the skill itself? Shooting is the single most transferable talent in all of basketball. It does not need modern pace, and it does not need modern spacing to work its magic. A made three counts the same in any decade. So on pure portability, my read lands the needle near the very top of the scale, almost without hesitation. So here is the verdict you came for. With a closer line and an almost empty arc, the super advanced data says Steph would not just survive the 1990s, he would actively warp it in ways that era never had to guard. So my read lands the needle at near dominant, with one giant asterisk that I am about to explain to you honestly. Now the honest counter, where my model could absolutely be wrong. The 1990s allowed hand checking and legal forearm contact all over the perimeter. So the real question is not whether Steph can shoot, because he obviously can. It is whether the referees and defenders would even let him get a clean shot off 30 times a night. And it is whether his slider frame could survive 82 games of that physical beating without breaking down. That honestly is the one place this projection could fall apart. And that is the grand contrarian read this whole episode hangs on. The popular eye test says a slight jump shooter gets bullied and simply disappears. The super advanced data flips it completely on its head. The era quietly handed him the perfect gift, a short line and almost nobody trained to guard it. And because he already shoots from well behind the modern arc, those 90s defenders would have to step out further than anyone in that era ever had to, cracking a packed floor wide open. And remember, the man we are translating is the all-time three-point king. Across his career, he has buried 4,248 threes, the most ever by anybody, while shooting 42.2% from deep for his whole life. He is a 4-time champion and a 2-time most valuable player. So that is the verified resume the model is starting from before it ever travels back in time. We are so close to 1,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.